The Second Amendment guarantees Americans the fundamental right to keep and bear arms. And in all fairness, there can be acceptable limitations. And what I mean, for example, is the mentally ill, convicted felons. But it's not up to us to decide. It's up for the courts. These cases and individual liberties must be adjudicated first before we start creating laws to not allow possession on individual liberties. The Second Amendment itself, the language is very unambiguous. The right to keep and bear arms belongs to the people. And I'm going to dissect that language for just a second because it lies at the heart of the Democrats' argument. The phrase, the right of the people, appears several times in other places in the Bill of Rights, including the First and Fourth Amendments. At no other point does it refer to anything other than an individual right of private citizens. One of the arguments the left makes is that the language only applies to well-regulated militias, and the courts have effectively ruled on that already. But if the drafters of the Second Amendment had meant merely to clarify that the power of maintaining a well-regulated militia belonged to the state government, they certainly knew how better to distinguish between the people and individuals of the government. And you see the Constitution pretty much lays that out everywhere. And I think that's an important distinction to make, and the courts have done the same thing. The Supreme Court correctly interpreted this and considered it a guaranteed individual right as opposed to a collective right. In 2008, the case, the District v. Columbia versus Heller, the Supreme Court held that, and this is important, so listen, quote, Second Amendment protects individual rights to possess a firearm unconnected with service in a militia, end quote. Now, the court intentionally makes that distinction, but why would they do that? They do that because the Constitution itself, the body of it, mandates that deference should always be given to the individual citizen and individual liberty. That's why our founding fathers wisely and plainly wrote the text that they did. There's simply no other way to interpret the Second Amendment. And again, the courts have proved that.